It is 4 o'clock. I will call the Plan Commission meeting to order on, let's see, what day is today? Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, 4 p.m. Here at City Hall and via Zoom. Roll call.
Council Representative Schultz. Commissioner Huff. Commissioner Kesnick. Here. Commissioner Shull. Here. Commissioner Ciccarelli.
Here.
Director of Public Works Naven.
Here.
Chairperson Manager Houseman.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, new business. We have review and possible action relating to the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting. This is one of our commissioners had some updates and changes. Have those been addressed properly?
They have. Thank you for the detailed update. I appreciate it.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion by the Plan Commission? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. On to review and possible action relating to the minutes of the June 24th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments by the Plan Commission on that? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next item is review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Edward Jones, 403 Janesville Avenue. This is site plan review -2025-22. Mr. Drager, who is our newly promoted Director of Neighborhood and Building Services. Congratulations, Jed. Can you please prepare the staff report?
Congratulations. Yes, once again, that's Edward Jones. They recently relocated from Main Street, South Main here, or actually Milwaukee Avenue address, but facing Main Street, to a new office location at 403 Janesville Avenue, actually right over there. And they are proposing some new signage for the new location. One is an existing awning, which will get new vinyl on the front of it. So it's just the vinyl on the awning on the facade of the building facing Janesville Avenue. So you can see in the left-hand picture there, being replaced with what's on the right. So the awning itself is remaining with just new vinyl on it. And then a new dual post sign, which will be adjacent to Janesville Avenue, meeting our requirements for distance from the public right away. That will be a new sign altogether, new posts. They'll be taking out the existing one and replacing it entirely. It's all aluminum construction painted. And then there is also some lettering on the door and window, which is very minor and does not require a permit or review. But as always, we like to make sure we're including all the materials that are presented to us for the review overall. Both signs are meeting the city's requirements. It is in unison with the city's comprehensive plan, and no changes proposed for the use of the building, and staff does recommend approval as proposed.
Questions for Mr. Drager from the Plan Commission on this one?
No questions, but I like how sharp the awning sign looks with the larger typeface relative to the old use.
Mm-hmm. Overall, staff felt it was a well-designed proposal.
There's one minor typo, misspelling of the word sign on, I think it's page 13, but other than that, it looks great.
There's a lot of them on there.
I would move to approve the site plan review for signage at Edward Jones, 403 Janesville Avenue.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the Planning Commission? I will just make one clarification. If it's friendly for both the mover and the seconder, that it's as proposed with no conditions, as there were none in the staff report.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, just so that's clear. Any final questions or comments from the Plan Commission?
Nothing substantive, but it would be nice to have a big old red arrow on the map, just like there is in the next application.
Noted.
Noted. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the signage as proposed. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Moving on to 3D, which is review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at 201 North Main Street. This is site plan review dash 2025-20. Mr. Drager, if you could please.
Yes, thank you. In addition to being a site plan review, is also a special area design review because it's in the downtown historic mixed use district. As you can see here on the image on the screen over there, that is an existing pylon sign along Madison Avenue. They are planning to replace that face with what you see there. Does not, since it's an existing non-conforming sign, does not require a permit to replace that, or excuse me, it does not require review by the plan commission to replace the sign. It does require a sign permit, but is a staff review. However, once again, presenting that in front of plan commission here, so you can see the full scope. There was some consideration by the Historic Preservation Committee on this sign. The text stating modern kitchen and catering was a bit small on the original version of it. HPC and city staff recommended enlarging that print, which they were accommodating and did so. They did not have to, but it was recommended and they did do that. Moving on, there are 2 additional new building signs which are part of this review since the pylon sign, excuse me, is actually in a separate zoning district from the building. It is in the peripheral mixed use area. The building signs are in the historic mixed use area, and they do require review and approval from both this plan commission and Historic Preservation Committee. Historic Preservation Committee did view the 2 on-building signs and did approve of them. I think the only comment that they had with that was that there may be a small concern with the amount of light that these signs would give off compared to the amount of light that's coming from McDonald's adjacent to this building. However, the placement of the 2 signs, one is quite high and may not be impacted by that. However, the sign itself was acceptable, and from their view, it is meeting the city's ordinances and is fitting with the building. City staff does believe this is in unison with the city's comprehensive plan. The only bit of criteria that was missing from the application was the depth of the sign. The city ordinance allows for up to 12 inches in depth. It does not appear that it will be reaching that depth. However, we were not given that information. So as part of the approval, one of the conditions staff would recommend is receiving confirmation that it would be less than 12 inches in depth. With that, we'll take any questions. However, staff does recommend approval of the proposed wall sign with that condition I mentioned, requiring the applicant submit information on the depth of the sign. And I'll take any questions.
Similar to the attractiveness of the Edward Jones awning, I think that the black on the building masonry looks sharp. I do have a comment on the pylon sign. I love 220's portion of the pylon sign. I think it's great visible. It's not black, but it works great with the black underneath it. However, the words parking lot under Tree Relief 201 is redundant. 2 comments about that. Yes, it's a parking lot. That's clear from context. Also, someone completely unfamiliar with the site might think that's the parking lot for Creamery 201, but it's not Creamery 201. Now I have to find Creamery 201.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest consideration of simply removing the words parking lot from the black area. Not that this has anything to do with 220, but it's just it's on sign psychology.
Yeah, I can definitely share those comments as your comments with them. I will point out though it is indeed the parking lot for Creamery 201. They own that parking lot.
Absolutely, but it's just as clear if just the words Creamery 201 are there. In fact, it's more aligned with 220. 220 subtitle, Creamery 201 doesn't have a subtitle. Creamery
Mhm.
201 subtitle is not parking lot.
Mhm.
Also, it's dead obvious it's a parking lot. So the words
Fair
parking
enough.
lot are not needed.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll share that with the applicant.
Yeah, and it might also create confusion that it's not parking for 220. You know,
It is parking for 220 and and Creamery 201.
right, but what I'm saying is because it's only listed under Creamery 201, somebody might think, oh, I guess 220
Mhm.
isn't allowed to park here. I agree that it's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of confusing.
definitely. I will share that information with them.
And just to note Mr. Drager's comment previously, because this is the sign face replacement, it doesn't actually require the Plan Commission's approval. So we'll share those comments and provide that feedback to the property owner and see if they are in line with the thinking of the Plan Commission members.
It's just a suggestion. This has nothing to do with the submittal, but every time I visit Mr. Breen's, sometimes I approach from the main Madison intersection, and I do it by walking across the parking lot. And I know there's all sorts of history about how that whole parking lot complex developed, but the pedestrian circulation leaves much to be desired. I have some ideas on that score, but not a complete idea, nor is it anything that you can throw a condition on anybody about. But I'd be open to a site walk for anyone interested to brainstorm how it might be made easier to walk specifically from the upper larger lot through the lower lot to 220 and McDonald's. I have some ideas. I've designed a few parking lots in my former career, and I'm also a former pedestrian designer. And I think it's worth a shot, and I do have a few starting ideas. This has nothing to do with approving this great proposal.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that is something I've experienced both as a patron of Mr. Brews and just in general experience. That is a kind of pedestrian dysfunctional area. And you're right, there is some unique, maybe not unique, right, history between the property owners. But yeah, I mean, I think that if we have ideas, we can certainly share them with the property owners, and if that's something that they're interested in making improvements into the future. Parking lots don't last forever. So if we have an opportunity to review a new parking lot replacement, either there or with McDonald's, I think there's some opportunities there to offer some suggestions.
It's also can be seen as a somewhat of a pedestrian safety issue. If someone doesn't know how to navigate between that lot, they may make choices that are not the safest choices they can make made. That's the function of a well thought out pedestrian route, even if it's not the greatest pedestrian route in the world, like something in France. I don't know. Doing better can be a safety issue. I think there's some opportunities.
Wonderful. Okay, so any other questions for Mr. Drager on the sign package for 220? Okay, thank you, Mr. Drager. Any discussion amongst the Plan Commission on the sign package, which I guess technically just includes those two wall signs? And Mr. Drager will provide some feedback to the owner about the refacing of the pole sign there, and subject to receiving the information on the depth of the wall signs. There's no discussion. I would entertain a motion to that effect.
I would move to approve with those comments or additional questions.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any final questions, comments, concerns from the Plan Commission on this matter? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is update on previous Plan Commission approved projects. I will just provide a quick update because a couple fun things have happened just today. So I will say we have an accepted offer to purchase on one of the Grove and Maple Street lots with a closing set for the end of July. That the Plan Commission approved that plat several months ago. So those are some infill lots that the city owns along Maple and Grove. There's 6 lots. We have now an accepted offer to purchase one, so that's great news. And then also, the city is scheduled to close on lots 12 and 13 in the Clement Business Park on Friday, July 11th. So that's that concept plan that this body saw just last month. So we are looking to close on the project, or close on the property, excuse me, and then once that's complete, the new property owner will have those site plans and engineering plans and all the plans commissioned, and then they'll come back to this body for approval at a later date. So any questions on items? Anybody needs an update on?
I appreciate those updates. That's exciting news. I just wanted to know if we, as the commissioners, could get some history on the evolution of the Main Street sign ordinance that disallows signs that are perpendicular to the street or projecting from the building. I know that was, historically a pretty common way to mount a sign. And in fact, the Main Street organization under the Preservation Commission or under the Historic Trust, National Trust, actually encourages that type of mounting. And it can be approved of with a variance or what's the other word for a variance? A conditional use in cities that have a Main Street program. So did the city think it was a fall hazard, a safety hazard? Do you have any history on that?
I don't, but
Okay.
I think that's something that we can look into and report back to the Plan Commission. Unfortunately, the team you have in place between Jed, Zach, and myself don't have the longevity that could kind of jump back into the minds of the people who created or amended that zoning code. We can certainly reach out to our planning consultants and kind of see what the conventional wisdom of the day was. I think we can point to a couple incredibly inappropriate historic signs that are projecting that are in our downtown that may have had something to do with it, but I can't speak to that. We can certainly come get some information and bring that back to the Plan Commission to discuss at a meeting in the future.
I don't know if it was something that was an ordinance that was created or amended after the very popular and not so attractive lighted beer or tavern signs became popular. It certainly isn't something that I think needs to be lighted in that way, the backlit sign. But I certainly have been to cities like Galena, Illinois, or towns in Door County that make good use of the projecting signs, and they make for an attractive pedestrian-friendly area. But that was just I just wondered how that ordinance evolved. So
Sure. I mean, it was part of the zoning rewrite in 2019, 2020. So we will likely be able to find some information and we can have a discussion at a future Plan Commission
thank
meeting.
you.
You're welcome. Okay, with no additional business on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 4:19 p.m. Thank you all.